Okay, so I have a shitload of TV shows to talk about this week. I'm just going to talk about everything, and I shouldn't waste any time, so let's get right into it. We're going to start with The Walking Dead. This episode was entitled Them, and at the very beginning, we see a bunch of different characters who are going through some shit. First, Maggie is depressed, and with good reason. You see her, she's sitting behind a tree, and even a walker coming up behind her doesn't scare her, doesn't really move her. She just, on instinct, on autopilot, kills him, and that was tough. Seeing her just throughout the whole episode, almost deciding whether it was worth it, whether she still wanted to keep going on. That one scene where she opened the trunk of the car and saw the kidnapped zombie, which looked eerily similar to Beth, and she was going back and forth on whether she could kill it, and just a lot of good stuff with Maggie as a character, and I liked it. I think we needed to see her go through those emotions, go that low, especially with me included, people complaining about how she never asked about Beth or reacted to Beth being missing. I like that she addressed that, and she said that whole time she thought that Beth was dead, and she was kind of putting herself in a mindset where she didn't think about it. She kind of knew it and left it there, and then when she found out she was still alive, only to find out that she then died, it set off this whole wave of emotion. So all of that was insane. We see Daryl eating a worm, which, I mean, he has eaten weird things before, squirrels and raccoons probably, I don't know, a snake. But yeah, that was just, I don't know, them digging for water, and he just is like, oh look, a worm. I bet you, even though that happened, you'll still have a ton of women. I'm sure memes are being created as we speak of women saying, I don't care if he eats worms, I'll still fuck him. That's just the type of appeal that Daryl seems to have. And also seeing the group starving as a whole. I don't know how baby Judith isn't like severely crying and just so hungry and starving. I think they said they've been without food for almost 2 days. So yeah, I've seen some people say that this episode was boring, that nothing happened, or that they didn't like it for whatever reason. And you know what? I have to remember that opinions are opinions. They're like assholes. Everybody has one. But my opinion is we have to have an episode where we sort of stop and really deal with what it's like in the zombie apocalypse, a day in the life. How it's not easy, how it's not just like, oh look, we're gonna encounter all of these different things, and I mean, do you want them to kill off more main characters in every single episode? No, we have to have an episode where we really get in the middle of how hard this is, and so that's why I appreciate it. That's why I liked it. I did find it interesting that Rick's plan with the walkers that were finding them, because first of all, that one shot with the whole group in one long line slowly walking and then the zombies behind them, that was just epic. That's one of the best shots I've ever seen on this show. So Rick's plan was to lure those walkers towards them and then throw them off the cliff, which was an interesting and clever idea. Maybe you're expecting or wondering, why aren't these zombies trying harder to get them? I mean, there was that one moment because Sasha just is like, fuck this shit. She's still pissed about what happened to Tyrese and Bob, so she feels isolated and she just goes apeshit and wants to take aggression out. Goes after the walkers, and then that's when they get more aggressive and they start. There's one quick moment where a walker, like, lunges at Rick's arm and is like this fucking close to biting him. It was like, I stood up from my seat and was like, holy fuck. The back of your head, you know Rick's not going to die, at least not now, but still I had a moment. And then you saw them with these dogs showing up out of nowhere. And I remember seeing the dogs in the preview last week and thinking, holy fuck, this is going to be crazy. I mean, either somebody out there has a pack of dogs and they're using them to either kill people or to capture people, or they're just a random group of dogs on their own. They're going to go around and they've been ripping people apart. I was pretty stoked to see what was going to happen with these dogs until they just got shot, all of them, and then the group ate them. So that was a little underwhelming, especially where, as much as I was glad, obviously, that my group got food somehow, it did seem a little too convenient and too easy. It was like, okay, I do admit, I'm sure Gabriel would say that, hey, this is like a sign from God, you know. And then the moment when it started raining, when they were desperate for water, sure, that's how you can interpret it. Why not? The scene where Daryl went off on his own and got a cigarette and started crying, that was nice too, because Daryl, he also lost a lot losing Beth. It's not just Maggie. He spent so much time with her. I don't know exactly what his backstory and situation is when it comes to women. There's rumors left and right, whether he's a virgin or, I remember rumors about him being gay. But I do feel like whatever it is, he did grow a fondness towards her, a connection to her. And her being gone, she might have been the closest person besides Rick that he had that connection. And her being gone, that hurts him. And so I like that moment. And then when they all went to the barn, because it was raining, it was a storm, and man, not only did I like the speech that Rick gave, "We are the Walking Dead," that was like a fuck yeah, he said it. I don't know, it's just, you sort of stop and realize, well, I don't think they've ever said The Walking Dead in the actual show. Maybe they have, but this was like a definitive fuck yeah, that's what this show is. But the moment when Daryl looked out at the doors, the crack of the doors, and that swarm of walkers were coming towards them, just the way it was shot, it looked creepy as fuck. I literally yelled, holy shit. I didn't know what was going to happen. The whole group, one by one, just tries to hold the door back, and it's shaking, and there's so many walkers outside, and I honestly had no idea what was going to happen. Cut to Maggie waking up, and I thought, wait a minute, was it a dream? And then you see that, no, it's just it. And then for a second I thought, okay, well, that's kind of lame if, like, you just say that they all just walked away, the walkers got bored and left. But then once you see outside, Maggie and Sasha go out and they see that the storm caused one of the trees to land on top of them. You see a bunch of walkers cut in half or squashed, and some of them trying to move their arms, but they're stuck. Like, that was a great reveal. And as we have a quiet, nice moment, this random fucking guy, Aaron, who is clean as hell, who is overly polite, and it's like, hey guys, I'm a nice guy, and I'm here. I know Rick's name somehow, some fucking way. I'm here to help. And then the toy that Carl gave to Maggie earlier, it was supposed to be broken, all of a sudden starts moving. Now that's just fucking weird. I don't know if that's like some Sixth Sense shit. I don't know how that happened, or I don't even know how that would be connected to the Sixth Sense, but that just came in my head. And I don't trust this fucking guy. I don't. Now, maybe that's a thing where we're supposed to think that because every character almost that we've met has been shady and been cannibals or just fucking killers or crazy, and so maybe this guy will be straight up. Who knows? But by this point, it's hard to tell. If you couldn't tell, though, I did like this episode a lot. Fuck the haters. I get it. They have an opinion. I just completely disagree. Moving on to Gotham. This episode was entitled The Blind Fortune Teller. Now, okay, so when we saw the circus, Gordon and Leslie Tompkins were at the circus and we saw the Flying Graysons. I got pretty happy seeing that. I remember reading about the Graysons showing up and I initially thought, really? This early? But I guess it makes sense, you know? The whole family, the whole Grayson family is a family of the circus. So why not have generations be there? And then when I think about it, I mean, do people go to circuses anymore? Like, is that still a thing? Because I haven't been to a circus. I haven't heard about a circus since I was a kid. So, I don't know. Random thought. But then these clowns start attacking them. And I thought, okay, is this supposed to be like Joker's family? Because we all knew that supposedly a Joker maybe character was going to be here. And that's where we meet Jerome, who is a kid that we find out his mom was killed. And Gordon spends the whole episode trying to figure out who killed her. And Jerome, I admit, when I first saw him, I had this stink look on my face. Like, fuck you, kid. You're not the Joker. I don't care what this show says. You're not the Joker. You're not. But then when Gordon figures out that he was the one who killed his mom, and that this blind fortune teller is this kid's father, fuck, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't creeped out and if I wasn't impressed by this kid's performance when he just switched and he had this creepy grin on his face and he started laughing maniacally and he started going off this rant about how annoying his mom was, how he didn't mind her being a drunk and a slut, but it was her nagging him and just being annoying is what made him kill her. And it's just, he just did it. For what the fuck, just because. And he's going off and just, I don't know if it was his mannerisms, his speech patterns, or the look on his face, his smile, but fuck, I bought it. I said, you know what? As much as I'm not thrilled about the show using a kid Joker, that was a good way to do it. I have to give it props. At least the kid that they picked, this actor, was fucking good. I can't say it any other way. I was impressed. I also liked that Leslie Tompkins was trying to help Gordon on this case. It shows that she's smart, she's capable, and she also works with him, so it makes sense. It doesn't feel like she's meddling into his business. And she's just a good actor. And I buy her relationship with Gordon 10 times more than I do with Barbara. But before I get to that, I also want to talk about the Penguin, who, you know, you see him at the beginning, and I guess he gave his mom, like, an act. He's letting her perform, which she sucks. And I don't know for sure, but I think she's driving away people from the business, like customers leaving. So that's not good. So Victor Zsasz, shows up and says, all right, we can't have this. And so he gives Penguin Butch, Fish Mooney's old henchman, and I mean, I don't know what the fuck he did to this poor guy. I say poor guy, but I mean, I don't know. He was loyal to Fish. I don't know what he could have done to him to make him so obedient and so much of a I don't want to say pussy either, but he was too quick to fucking dance for the Penguin. So I don't know. That kind of creeped me out. And I want to mention Bruce Wayne going to meet with the board at Wayne Enterprises. That was just kind of funny to see Bruce take that initiative and say, I know I'm just a kid, he admitted that, but I'm aware of what's going on here. And maybe, sure, I can't be here running the day-to-day operations, but I know that some of you guys are fucking up the business, and I'm not going to let that stand. Things are changing, and I liked how that scene played out. I'm liking this Bruce more and more the more I see him. And last but not least, Barbara was back. She came back to her apartment and she saw Selena and Ivy Pepper, because we're not going to call her Pamela Isley. But she saw them. She didn't get freaked out that these two random kids are in her apartment. She just was like, okay, hi guys, you can stay here. Okay. And she's talking to them about wanting to get back with Jim. And she's trying on dresses, and Selena's trying to give her advice. Whatever, I didn't really care. pretty poor use of Selena as a character, in my opinion. And then by the end of the episode, what do you know? Barbara shows up at the precinct because she can do that. Goes to the back room because she can do that. And she sees Gordon and Leslie Tompkins kissing. And she gets all upset and she storms out. I'm surprised I didn't hear her stomping her feet away. I hate this fucking character. And I know we're going to find out that she's pregnant. I know it. I know that that's what's going to fuck up Gordon and Leslie's relationship, is that Barbara's going to find out she's pregnant. She's going to go to him and say, haha, you have to fucking leave the best woman ever to be with me. A total bitch, annoying, cheating whore. If you think about it, I don't know what this was supposed to accomplish. I don't know if I was supposed to feel bad for Barbara, that she was going to try to get Jim back and he was already with somebody else and she walked away. Like, was I supposed to care about her and feel bad? No, she left Gordon for Montoya. And what, just because Montoya for some reason said, fuck you, I don't want you anymore, you're a drug addict and you're just useless. So because that happened, and because she went back to her parents, and even her parents are sick of her, it's almost like going back to Jim was her last resort. Like, I fucking hate this character. Everything about her. She brings an episode that I liked and that I thought was good, and that somehow won me over with this whole Joker thing. And she brings it down just one level. I can't say the episode was bad. I still liked it, but still, my God. Kill her off. Alright, now we're going to talk about The Flash, which that was entitled Fallout. And this was something, it continued right where the last episode ended, where they successfully split Ronnie and Martin Stein. And at first I thought, wow, that was not easy. It was a fucking nuclear bomb. But when they were parting ways and bringing Stein back to his wife, I said, oh wow, a happy ending, and it's only like the first 5 minutes. Well, clearly that wasn't going to stick, because Ronnie and Stein still have like this weird connection. I mean, this whole character is weird in so many ways. The fact how it's two people brought together to create this Firestorm character. But so them mentally being connected, I find pretty interesting. West showing Barry the whole, not only the time travel thing, telling him about that, but showing him the pictures of his mom and telling him that that's him in the future. I love that West told him all of this, because any other CW show, I guess besides Arrow, even Arrow, I guess, once I get to that, you would have the character not tell him and just say, oh, for his own good, I don't want to tell him. I'm protecting him, so I'm going to lie to him. I'm glad that West wasn't like that. West said, I felt like I had to tell you. He even said later, like, I feel bad because you're hurting. Should I not have told you? And Barry's like, no, it was right to tell me. So I liked all of that. The whole idea of time travel, it's pretty tricky, and it's a dangerous thing to bring into this show because it's also connected to the Arrow universe. And the whole time, maybe I shouldn't be thinking like this, but the whole time I was thinking, wow, so if Barry, if not now, eventually figures out how to time travel, what's going to stop him from going back in time and, say, helping Oliver or saving Sarah's life, which I would fucking love. But I don't know, I don't want time travel to be like an easy thing for him to do. I want it to be like it uses so much energy that he can't really do it besides this one time. He did say that his goal now is to go back and save his mom, which wouldn't that be a whole new ripple effect? You almost expect that that's not going to happen, but it was interesting, and it makes sense that that is his goal. Clancy Brown is back on the show. He's the general who, like, his sole mission is to collect or kill metahumans, and Firestorm, I guess, was number one on his list, but also Flash was up there. That weird device that he had where it shot, like, pins and needles into him, that was kind of odd and weird. And I couldn't tell, really. I mean, I guess I still can't tell what was going on between him and Harrison Wells. Like, Was Wells working with Clancy Brown, but like pretending he was, knowing that what he was going to do at the end of the episode to him? Or did he have to improvise and he gave him what he wanted, which was Martin Stein, and then turned back on him? I don't know. It might sound more confusing than what it was. Maybe I misread it. I couldn't tell what Wells was really doing or who he was playing, because let's be honest, he's playing everybody this whole season in a sense. And okay, one thing that I don't like, that I didn't like here, was there's a moment when Caitlin and Ronnie go to Wes's house with Barry's permission, and Iris shows up, and they're like, holy crap, we forgot that Iris, I guess, comes home this day of the week and cooks dinner. They bond. So everybody felt the need to lie to Iris about Ronnie. And even Iris said he looked familiar, so she might have seen a picture of him before. I don't know why we're lying to Iris about this. I mean, I guess you can't really tell her that Ronnie died, we thought, but then came back and is now a metahuman. I guess, but I thought the whole, oh, he's Caitlin's cousin, I thought that was just a terrible lie. And even later on when Iris went back up to Caitlin and said, oh, what happened to your cousin? Oh, he went home. Oh, where? Like, she was testing her, and like, Caitlin's a horrible liar, apparently. It was all over her face. It's just, it's giving Iris too much of a reason to be suspicious, and I think that was just a little forced. Now she's going to be working with that guy to investigate the facility. So, I don't know. Hopefully it's not this whole, like, we're going to do something with Iris where she becomes the bad person without realizing it. She's going to expose these people without realizing what she's doing. I don't know. I guess I just have to see where it goes. Cisco's funny line of the week, because this is becoming a weekly thing. And I've seen some comments of people saying they don't like Cisco at all. They think he's annoying, which, okay, but I disagree. I think he's hilarious. So his line was when they were trying to figure out where Stein was, and they were using Ronnie to try to connect it, and they figured out Morse code where it was, and Barry said, that's the building where they're keeping Stein. And Cisco said, yeah, I bet that's where they're keeping the aliens too. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't as funny as when I first saw it. I laughed pretty long and loud while watching it. And then, like I said, the end of the episode, you have Ronnie and Stein coming back together, becoming Firestorm, and they were badass. They were. The special effects for him on fire look amazing. And then he leaves by the end and says he's going to try to figure out what to do. I was hoping he was going to stay on the show. I was actually hoping that when they split them, that Ronnie could still have the powers without having to be connected to Stein, but I guess that's not how it works. So hopefully he does come back. Hopefully they can figure something out. Do you really want to stay connected to another guy who's in your head? And just it's a weird character in a weird situation. But the end, like I said, so this is the first time that we're seeing Harrison Wells in the Reverse Flash costume, because sure, it's obvious that he was Reverse Flash, but since we didn't see him in costume, we only saw the costume on the wall, and I guess there was some speculation on whether he really was Reverse Flash, or maybe there's multiple Reverse Flash, and I think this is definitively like, hey, no, he's the guy. We saw him with the mask off, and he took Clancy Brown, and I thought he was going to kill him himself, but no, he got Gorilla Grodd. And so Grodd doesn't really talk. I don't know a lot about Grodd. I'm not going to pretend like I do. But so I guess he can. Maybe it was experiments from or the accelerator. Who fucking knows? At the end of the day, but he was like mentally talking to Clancy Brown and said his own name, which was cool. And then just grabbed him and fucking tore him apart. Like Grodd, he's scary. He's big. He's huge. He's hulking. and he's menacing, like that's a villain that I hope they don't just do like a one and done. He fights Barry in one. I hope they build him up as much as they're doing, and save him for something big and epic. And then judging by the preview to next week, it looks like, who knows, but it looks like the group is going to find out about Wells. I said next week. I'm wrong. This show isn't coming back until March, like next month, which after this preview, I can't wait that long. I'm sorry. I'm too excited. I'm loving this show too much. Fuck! I can't wait that long. Clearly, I enjoyed the episode. I did. Now let's talk about Supernatural. The Executioner's Song was the episode. And we see that the overall premise of the episode was Kane is back. Not the wrestler Kane, which they said last season. Sam made a reference to the wrestler Kane, and Dean was like, I wish. That was awesome. But no, Kane who killed his brother Abel. That Kane. He is back to kill off, I guess, this was a little confusing, but I'm pretty sure I got it. He was killing off ancestors or descendants of his family. So I guess anyone that was from his blood, which technically is a lot of fucking people. He's killing off, he's wiping out that whole family and then moving on to like another set of that whole family so that they don't go crazy, become murderers, which I guess a lot of them did become murderers. And so he thinks he's doing the world a favor, saying, hey, I'm sorry for killing my brother, and I started all of this chaos and violence for a generation, but I'm going to rectify it. So, okay, I guess, but then he went after like an innocent kid who, like he said, could go 50-50 either way. So, yeah, clearly he wasn't ultimately doing the right thing. Dean and Sam were desperate, so they make a deal with Crowley to get the knife. And I love the moment where Dean lied to Crowley, not just because he lied to him to get the knife, but his reaction to lying, like he was on the phone, and he said, oh yeah, so you're on Kane's list. And then Crowley looked sort of afraid. And then you cut back to Dean, and he goes, I don't know, will he buy it? You know, like he totally sold the whole, like, I'm totally making this up. Hopefully Crowley buys it, takes bait, and he does. So then we get the fight between Kane and Dean, which I thought was pretty awesome. Not only the speech that they both sort of gave to each other, but the moment where Kane said to Dean, this is your fate. Like, you're going to kill everybody. You're going to kill Crowley. You're going to kill Castiel. And then, just like me, you're going to kill your own brother. And that was heartbreaking. That was hard to hear, because I pray to God he's not right. And even Dean being afraid of himself and whether or not that's true and if he can control it. He does end up killing Kane, but at what cost? The moment where it's like, you don't know what's going to come out of that door. And I don't know. The very last shot of Sam saying Dean's not doing so well, it's just, I don't know at all where this is going to go. My one complaint is Rowena is fucking annoying as hell. She is. I get that they're going to build something for her and Crowley, and she's trying to turn Crowley against the Winchesters. It makes sense. Maybe Crowley shouldn't be so aligned with them and so sort of trusting with them after what they've been through, after what even Crowley's done to them. But she annoys the fuck out of me when she's in these scenes and she's clearly lying and it's so blatantly obvious that she's manipulating him, and even him being aware of it but still going along with it is annoying. I don't, ugh. Go away. Alright, so I didn't talk about Agent Carter last week, and someone commented and said, hey, what the fuck, what about Agent Carter? So I'm going to talk about Agent Carter right now. The episode was called Snafu. And the cliffhanger last week was amazing, where Carter was caught and they were going to interrogate her. Boom, episode over. I was like, no, I need to see this episode, or I need to see what happens now. That's what this episode started with, where Carter was being interrogated and being grilled pretty hard by several different agents, and I loved it. I was loving every single minute of it. I love how Peggy comes off like, even though she has been lying to them, even though she has been doing things technically that she shouldn't be doing for Howard Stark, you still obviously feel bad for her. She was doing the right thing, and you do want her to get out of this. You do want her to somehow convince them, even though how can she? And then you have Jarvis coming in with a fake signed confession from Howard Stark, which at first I thought, wow, Howard Stark found out about all of this pretty quickly and got this signature quick. But no, it was fake. It was Jarvis grasping at straws and just desperately helping her. So I like that. I like how even Jarvis acted on instinct and wanted to help her, showed some loyalty to her because he felt bad. So they didn't just leave her out to dry. That was nice. And this Dr. Janko, who is, okay, I don't want to get this wrong. I'm pretty sure he's Mickey Rourke's character from Iron Man 2's father, I think, right? Grandfather, maybe father. So that's very cool that they have him as a character, as a villain on this show. I don't love his mind control thing. I'm not the biggest fan of mind control because I think it makes characters do things that they normally wouldn't do, and that's the point. But it's just, I don't know. It seemed too easy too. Oh, focus on my ring, and then he has people do whatever the fuck he wants. Even the Chief, who, man, what a way to feel bad for this Chief character, Chief Dooley, who between the images being placed in his head of him reuniting with his family, which almost happened in real life, but then the bomb was strapped to him and he sacrificed himself, jumped out of the fucking building and blew up. Like, damn. I should have known he was going to die by how much screen time they were giving him and how much layers they were adding to the character for almost the first time ever, but still, great actor. I'm sad to see him go, but he had a pretty powerful way to go. I want to mention the Dottie character because she's a badass, dude. The moment where she not only takes out some agents, but when she jumps down the stairs and she's like bouncing off the rails like nothing, like a fucking robot or a cat, or I don't know how to describe it. It was just like badass. And being able to watch her face Peggy Carter eventually is going to be something to watch. I am definitely looking forward to that. And by the end of it, Dottie had something to do with this too, but her and Janko put the baby carriage in the theater and released that gas that forced or made everybody kill each other. And seeing them open the doors and the aftermath of it, of everyone just like laying on top of each other in piles, that was disturbing. Wow. So great episode. Agent Carter has been consistently great every single week. The preview to the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show, which is coming back in a month or so, that looks great. I'm really looking forward to S.H.I.E.L.D. coming back, but Agent Carter has been one hell of a placeholder. I hope that they do this more. I wouldn't mind next year and for a couple of seasons. Let's bring this show back. Why not? Now, last but not least, I appreciate people sticking with it. Arrow. I fucking loved this episode. I can't help it. I don't know why I get so giddy or I geek out every time I watch this show. Every episode just somehow, I don't want to say outdoes itself, but it does something different and cool every time. So it begins with Ollie training with Thea on the island, which is just awesome. It's the very first time that we've seen the island this season, which is like, wow, because none of the flashbacks have been on the island. So this is kind of weird and different, but I like that we're back here. I like even him saying, wow, you learned all this from Malcolm in 9 months. Thea is at a whole new level here. And then we had a moment where Oliver was dreaming about Sarah, which I thought was really interesting. I don't know how to read it. I don't know if it means that he's just guilty because he's with Thea and he had that secret that he was keeping from her, or if maybe he does still love Sarah, but he never says it out loud, really. He doesn't talk to anybody about his feelings and thoughts, so maybe that's a deep down buried thing. Who really knows? But all it, I guess, really was to get Thea asking questions, and she, throughout the whole thing, kept asking, why did you lie to me about Sarah? What's going on? What's going on? And Ollie resisted it. And then we see that, first I thought that Slade just escaped. I thought he just was a badass and killed the guard and left. But no, we see that fucking Malcolm broke him out and was testing them. What the fuck? I shouldn't be surprised because I've always thought that Malcolm was a scumbag, and I didn't like that it seemed like these characters were forgiving him. I guess they're not really forgiving him. They're just sort of working with the devil they know. But forgiving him for what he did to Sarah, I just thought was a bad idea. And I'm glad that this episode reinforced how heartless he is. Or, I mean, he had his reason. He thought he was trying to prepare them to work together and to kill Slade, to work up to killing Roz. He has his reasonings, but fuck him. I can't deal with it. And so when Slade, it was awesome to see Slade back. He was such an awesome villain last season that it's almost like I didn't realize how much I missed this guy until he was back here. And when he locks them in the prison and he basically says, I'm not going to kill you because that's too quick. I want you to suffer like how you wanted me to suffer, and how I guess he's been suffering for however long it's been. And he left them there. And shit. The moment when Ollie had to break Thea's arm to reach the lever to get them out, damn. It is great though, because Thea from season 1 would have never been able to take this arm breaking thing. So, I mean, it hurt, but she did take it like a badass, so I did like that. And okay, before I get to the end, let's talk about some of the flashbacks, because most of the episode, surprisingly, was a flashback. And the flashbacks were the weirdest parts of the episode. I mean, I liked it. I did. We had Oliver and Maceo back in Starling City working for Amanda Waller to track down China White. I don't understand why Amanda Waller is using Oliver Queen to go back to Starling City like he's not going to fucking try to talk to his family. I mean, I know she says you can't do it for this, and that reason, but he still goes there. He doesn't talk to them, but he still figures out a way to do it. It doesn't make sense that she doesn't have anyone else that she could get to do this job, that it has to be Oliver Queen. She thinks that he has some skills, but she can find somebody else. She can. I do think at the end of the day it is a little forced to have him in this situation. But from a character standpoint, I understand it. It does work. It does work to have him in this predicament where he is fucked, right? I mean, he is literally watching his baby sister in one of the worst situations that you could ever see her in, where she's doing drugs, where it's almost like I forgot that she was a drug addict in season 1. Forgot all about that. Even her with the longer hair, I'm assuming it's a wig, seeing Thea with long hair again, like she looked as young as she did. That was great. And then Tommy! We got Tommy back. Wow. I loved it. I love seeing him not only try to protect Thea, but then the moments that he had with Laurel, and just him being that charming, nice guy. It's like, wow, I might have had a little issues with Tommy at the very beginning of season 1, because I thought maybe he had some corny jokes, but fuck, I kind of miss his character. It's nice that the show somehow, some way, finagles a way to bring that back. The moment where we saw Felicity, because Oliver had to go to the building to download files, and then Felicity. This is Felicity pre-season 1. So, like, wow, I couldn't begin to think about that. That this is her before everything. And I'm not sure now if Oliver, overhearing her talk about him being cute and then just her sort of being her quirky self, if maybe that's why he did go to her. I remember watching season 1 and wondering, why is he going to this girl? I mean, I know she works in the science area, but why her, you know? Like, why is he trusting her with all of this? Maybe it stems from that one moment where he's like, I remember this girl, so I'm going to go to her. Either way, it was cool. And then we saw Diggle pre-season 1, where he was like a bouncer or a security guard. And we saw him with his brother, which maybe I'm wrong with this. Was this the first time we saw his brother? I don't know. It was a quick moment, but I still liked it. And then, okay, so the drug dealer at the party, Thea gets drugs from him, and Oliver going to the party and straight up killing this guy. I mean, I get it. We have to remember that flashback Oliver is working up to becoming the Oliver that we saw in season 1. So we're going to see him kill people in the flashbacks. We're going to see him become that heartless guy that we met in season 1. So that I don't have a problem with. I like. It's just... And I do like the touch of him having the hoodie, because maybe that's where he got the motif from, the idea. So that I liked. All that I liked. I don't buy, though, after he kills this guy and the party gets broken up and the police show up and everybody's given their statements, and even there's a moment where Detective Lance says people saw somebody going upstairs in a hood, or maybe they didn't say the hood, but people saw him. So he stayed there in the crowd, though, while the cops were there with his hood on. He had to have the hood on to protect his identity, but you're trying to tell me no cops saw a guy in a hood being creepy in the corner and nobody saw that? I don't know. I don't really buy it, but I did like Lance being at the place where he was angry, he was bitter, he was an alcoholic, he was pissed about Sarah being dead the first time, and the rant that he went on to Laurel and to Thea. I loved it. I loved it. And then we get to the end of the episode where, first Oliver in the flashback saw the video from his father, which I loved. I loved that connection, that moment. We see the father talk about the book with the names on it. That's where all of season 1 came from. That was great. But then present time, the fact that Thea doesn't kill Slade, I love, because the three-way fight between them was awesome, right? But I was hoping that they weren't going to kill Slade. As messed up, as evil as Slade is, I say evil, the guy is tortured. He has been through a lot. It's not, at the end of the day, his fault. The Mirakuru made him crazy. So I guess I sympathize with the guy. He killed Oliver's mother, and I still sympathize with him. But I didn't want them to kill him, and they didn't kill him. Thank God. There's still a chance that he comes back. Just saying. And I love the speech after Thea finds out about what she did through Malcolm, killing Sarah. I loved her reaction to it. She was just disgusted and mortified. I do like that she wasn't angry with Oliver, disappointed, but not angry with him. All of her anger went to Malcolm, and that's where it was warranted. He deserved all of that anger, all of that rage. She scolded him out and said, "Look, I'm going to work with you because Oliver says we have to do that." She's almost trusting him, like just completely loyal to Oliver. I love that. But she tells her father, like, "I'm not your daughter anymore. This is it. This is done." I loved it. I loved her reaction to it. I love that we are still pissed at Malcolm. We do still hate this fucker, and we're not going to forgive him for it. Awesome. I mean, this episode sort of fixed any problems I was having with everything with Malcolm. It It was great. It answered so many questions. It had so many badass moments with Slade booby trapping the island. Like, I love this episode. Anyways, guys, enough of me geeking out over these shows, especially Arrow. I'm having a blast. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of these shows, the ones that you're watching. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later.